Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Alter Your Health podcast, Wisdom Wednesday, where we're going to be sharing insights from head to toe. I'm Dr. Ben.
And I'm Dr. Susanna.
And we are both naturopathic doctors who empower you to heal yourself through whole food, plant based nutrition and mind body medicine. And if you're new to these episodes, this series of the podcast, we are going head to toe and exploring how we can optimize our physiology and biochemistry through nutrition and lifestyle medicine on Medicinal Mondays. And then here on Wisdom Wednesdays, we're sharing the more emotional, energetic, metaphysical, spiritual aspects of health, which are, I would say, completely equally as important. And the goal is to just open our minds and open our hearts and get curious about how we can, expand our experience of health by, not just focusing on what we're eating and how we're living, because, yeah, those kind of things are super important and helpful. But that only can take us so far. There's more to life. So that's our intention here on Wisdom Wednesday. And we have made it through our hair, our skin, and now we're going to talk about bones and the emotional energetics around bones and bone health.
Definitely. Yes. And, with bones, we have a little prompt here from our lovely Louise Hay book. But before we get into it, when you think about bones, what do you think about in terms of their purpose? It's like to create like structure and support in the body, right? It's like literally the hard tissue that supports the rest of our tissue, right?
Yeah, well, you bring up a good point that it is a tissue. It's a dynamic organism inside of us. And I think a lot of people just think like bones are just these kind of like rocks that exist that are like inanimate objects within our bodies. And for sure, when you find a bone on the trail that's all dried up and dead, it doesn't have any life, but it is always regenerating, and there's a lot of blood flow and activity. Not as much blood flow as the rest of our organs, but a lot of regenerative potential nonetheless. And I think that, sorry to interject, but I think that one thing I realized we forgot to address in Medicinal Monday is just how when we fracture our bones, that's like a great experience and opportunity to witness the regenerative potential in the body. And even someone who is frail and old, and you would look at them and say they don't have much life or vitality, they still are able to heal fractured bones. Of course, maybe it takes 3 months instead of 2 months. For me, when I break my bones, have broken bones in the past. But in any case, yeah, that healing and regenerative potential is so much alive, even in these like more inert objects of the body that do provide the structure and support for the rest of our organs and systems. And I just think about, I think a great example is, just to answer your question, like what they're doing, the rib cage and the engineering of the rib cage, which of course there's a lot of support that the rib cage and protection that the rib cage provides. Of course, our heart is in there, and essentially all of our vital organs are hidden and protected beneath the rib cage. Yet our ribs are so flexible and malleable. And if you're a physical medicine practitioner or have been to a chiropractor or any sort of, received any sort of physical manipulation, you know that your ribs can kind of be dislocated, subluxed, or, slightly out of place. And, whoops. And we can kind of like move stuff. And of course, when we take a deep breath and everything expands and there's this cartilage and so much flexibility, yet also the rigidity and the structure and the protection, the support.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. Well, so let's shift gears to our little book here. You Can Heal Your Life from Louise Hay. And let's, this once again, we're using books like this to just kind of jog the creativity when we're talking about the mind body connection here, because in her book she says that bones, where am I here? Bones, the skeletal system, represents the structure of the universe. So there we've got that structural component,
The
right?
structure of the universe. Well, of course, like, what the heck does that mean? I
What
mean,
does
I
that
guess
mean?
we are the universe. That's what I hear, and that's how my interpretation of that, like, structure of the universe. And it's like you look outside and you look at everything that's going on in life, and then it's just like this reminder that we are that. We are the universe also. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And on Monday we talked a lot about bone health in the context of like increasing bone density and maintaining bone density, because osteoporosis and osteopenia are so common in
Yeah.
our culture. And so if we look at the probable cause that Louise Hay has here, probable
Energetic.
energetic cause of osteoporosis, we see that it says feeling there is no support left in life. So there's the other S word, support, structure and support.
Yeah, and I, of course, also think about what I've learned and experienced in my understanding of the energy centers in the body, the chakras, and how the skeletal system is really associated with kind of first chakra energetics. And that first chakra, and we'll of course, I'm sure we'll talk more about chakras in future Wisdom Wednesday episodes. But in a nutshell, do you want to explain just broad picture the chakra
Chakras.
system, just the chakra system?
Sure, the chakra system is just like one component of it comes from Ayurvedic medicine, ancient
Oh,
Indian medicine.
okay.
And
Just what they are.
the chakras are thought to be energetic centers, energy centers along the midline of the body, that start really at the very base of the spine and end even above like the crown of the head.
Mhm.
And each energy center or chakra is actually associated with a gland in the body, an actual like structural organ in the body.
Yeah.
And so, yes, the different energy centers, they're associated with different energetic patterns, but also associated with other kind of physical, you know, uh, physical patterns in the body as well. They're associated with certain organs, like we said. They're associated with certain disease processes if the energy center is either overactive or underactive, or overexpressed or underexpressed.
Right.
So, do you want to
Yeah.
fill in any gaps there?
Yeah, well, there's this flow of energy through our body, and this is not woo woo. This is very much measurable. Our electromagnetic fields, there's a flow of energy, and that energy flows through and is spinning our chakras that go up and down the spine. And in that flow of energy can be blocked or stuck or stagnant, or energy can move freely. And yeah, I think for a long, I mean, for thousands of years, these energy centers have been identified and talked about and written about and kind of worked on and addressed in terms of physical and energetic, emotional, spiritual health. And of course, as the scientific community, whatever, has evolved in understanding anatomy and physiology, there's a direct correlation between the kind of ancient energy centers and our endocrine system. So it's kind of interesting, the alignment between this kind of metaphysical, energetic part of our being and this physiologic, very much structural part of our being. But yeah, with regard to our first chakra, which is the first, it's down at the base of our spine. It's most associated with kind of the most primitive and primal needs of a human being, and that's the need to feel supported, the need to feel belonging, the need to feel at home and secure and safe. and loyal and part of the tribe, and that sort of thing. And that energy, those energetics, are also very much reflected in the skeletal system, and the support that our skeleton offers and the support that our bones offer us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the opportunity is, if we are experiencing decreased bone mineral density, if we are experiencing osteopenia, or frequent fractures, or things like that, it's just something to get curious about, the degree to which energy is flowing through our first chakra, and the connection to feeling supported in our life, to feeling belonging in our life, to feeling at home and free to be ourselves in our life. And that of course is, like, again, one of the most primitive and primal, fundamentally important parts of healthy existence as a human being.
Yeah. So let's explore that topic of feeling supported, because I think that's definitely a topic where it can be really easy to kind of look around you and like look at your support network and
Mm.
say, am I supported enough? Do I have enough people around me? Do I have enough financial support? Do I have enough this support? And we start looking outside of ourselves and we can make a judgment based on, okay, am I supported or am I not, based on external factors. But we know that the feeling of support comes from something much more than just our external circumstances.
Yeah, as you're discussing these external factors that might lead us to feel supported, like, money in a bank account, or a roof over our head, or food in the refrigerator, and these basic needs being met. Um, like, but there are people that exist on our planet, like a lot of them, who don't have these basic needs yet met. Yet maybe if you were to be with them or talk with them, they're still feeling supported by the universe. And it just leads me to think about this notion of our outer experiences, the outer experience of support, whatever that looks like for us. Because for some people, it is just our next meal. That's fully supported. Having our next meal, having some place to rest. For some people, they don't feel supported unless they have more than that. They feel a lack of support unless they have X amount of dollars in the bank account. But that's not to make one thing right or wrong. But I guess what's coming up for me is that outer experience, like what we observe and experience in our physical world, is a reflection of the level of support that we feel. So if we're walking around and feeling kind of like, I guess the term is like, scarcity or lacking, or like we don't have what we need, then we're not going to have what we need. We're not going to get what we need. We're always going to feel like we're lacking something. We're always going to feel like we don't have enough. We're always going to feel like the universe doesn't support us, and like we're swimming upstream, and we're struggling. But if we're coming into life, and being in life from a place of trust and knowing that the universe does support us, even though the external factors kind of ebb and flow, but the universe is undoubtedly like there for us, even though we struggle at times, or whatever it might look like or feel like, then the outer things just tend to kind of fall into place more gracefully. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Oh, yeah, it makes sense. And, I also want to talk about semantics for a moment. If people are hearing, this term supported by the universe, and they're like, what's that mean? That's a little woo woo or whatever. You could substitute the word universe for God, for source, for nature, for, there's many different words we can use. But I also want to just recognize one of the things that you said in the very beginning, that we are the universe. Like,
Hmm.
we have that same wisdom, that infinite source of wisdom and possibility that, we think the universe gives us. But when we really trust that we have an infinite source of wisdom, that we are infinitely wise, we can start feeling supported simply by ourselves, for
Yeah.
ourselves, despite whether we've got 20 friends in our, little support circle or not.
Hmm.
And so I think it's that, that self support that translates to universal support, because it is one and the same. And trusting more in that and realizing more of that as we move through life, I think is a real kind of organic process that, it's not like we can force ourselves to start trusting more in the universe, right? It just really comes from understanding and experience, I think.
And what I'm feeling right now is just like if I were to close my eyelids and just kind of like drop into myself and just kind of like forget or go beyond the physicality of my life. If I were to forget about Susanna and forget about alter health, if I ever forget about, riding my bike or going out with friends or whatever it is, and just like fully embrace the present moment and fully allow myself to be immersed in the present moment and like all that stuff, all that trivial stuff that's very important to me in physical form, but at the same time it's like, wow, nothing really matters. And all that really matters is like my presence and the next breath and just the most fundamental needs. And it's like I have what I need. And then I open my eyes again. I come back into my life and I observe and I count my blessings, whatever they are, focusing on all of the quote unquote positivity, all of the beautiful, amazing things around me, then like all of that is just like a overflow of blessings rather like so I can in a moment enter into gratitude, abundance mindset, whatever you want to call it, rather than of course like going about it life and thinking, oh, if only I could do this, if only I had more time to do that, if only I
Had this or had that, or
and how tiring is that? How much of an energy drain is that? And if we think about, again, our energy centers and that sort of feeling of lack of support is like, I think about the teachings of Carolyn Miss, who's also teaches all this energy anatomy, kind of mind body stuff. And she talks about energy as like kind of a currency. And it's like we have this bank account where we can deposit or take out energy. And if we're kind of always allowing our energy to just flow out without being really mindful or understanding where it's going, then we're going to be drained, and that's going to present itself oftentimes as physical symptoms, as experiences in life and body. So I guess the invitation is just to like be mindful of that feeling of universal support that is always available. All we have to do is experience ourselves in a present moment, regardless of the chaos or scarcity that exists outside. When we open our eyes on the most fundamental level, we always have what we need. We really do. And I think that's just a difficult but empowering place to live from.
right. Yeah, and I just want to also acknowledge the fluidity of how easy we can float in and out of the mindset of feeling support, or the mindset of feeling scarcity in our life. And it really can change moment to moment. It's funny because I feel like in reading these Louise Hay books, it's like, oh, you have osteoporosis? Okay. you must feel a lack of support. And, for some people, there can be that kind of chronic mental pattern.
That theme of like, oh, I feel this regularly.
Yeah, exactly. But also, people can just kind of float into, that state of mind. Also, whether it's for a month or a week or a day or an hour, and flow out of it just as easily. So, just once again, pointing out that ever changing nature of the mind and how the quality of our thoughts truly does create our experience and our perception of life. And it's not about controlling the content in our thoughts, but it's simply, just understanding that we're human. We're going to have a tendency to slip into those thoughts from time to time, and that's also okay.
That's for sure. And that's what makes life kind of fun, is
Yes.
that flowing and that drama that's inherently part of being human. It can be fun, at least at times.
Yes.
Not always. Anywho, any other kind of wrapping up thoughts around support and our skeleton and the opportunities in there?
Just a personal synchronicity I think is so funny that this morning we sometimes pull cards from little oracle decks and stuff, and there's this really cool kind of Native American themed animal deck that we often pull cards from. This morning I pulled the buffalo, which is representative of the universe, and the entire description of the buffalo card was talking just about all of this,
There you go.
universal support.
Yeah. Well, how has your skeletal health been?
Oh, well, that's a good question.
I mean, yeah. Well, it's interesting because, of course, like, like joint issues and
Mm-hmm.
these kind of things are certainly part of our experience of skeletal health, but not like, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
It's not like I developed osteopenia overnight or anything.
Yeah.
But I think for like the younger populations, bone issues can show up as either a bone break, a bone fracture, or maybe bones going out of alignment, or having some, like what you were saying, some joint issues.
Yeah.
Some more kind of skeletal alignment issues.
Well, the other thing, again, just a little tangent, another very, very common first chakra thing is the feet. And I know Susanna has had feet issues.
Not right now.
No, not right now. But yeah, feet, and also the immune system is another kind of part of our first chakra, which is just this primal aspect of ourselves and protection also. Anywho,
I don't feel like my body has given me any feedback in terms of my skeletal system, but in pulling that card, I did realize, like, oh wow, yeah, like I feel like the last few days I have kind of just simply forgotten that I am always supported. There's a tendency for us humans to think we're responsible for everything. We have to do it all ourselves, right?
And we can actually also we are in life, but we can partner with the universe.
Exactly.
We can partner with the universe and get the messages, get the inspiration, ride the waves, and that's always a good reminder.
Right.
So just before we sign off for today, just a reminder that the cleanse registration for the summer cleanse starting July 17th is open. You can go to www.alter.health/cleanse, and we have an early bird discount that saves you about $20. So it comes out to $79 or so to join us for essentially a 2-week reboot where we are flooding the body with whole plant foods and super nutrient dense stuff and optimizing hydration status and so much more. And it's a really great experience. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, but we just wanted to let you know about that and hope to see you inside in a few weeks.
Yes, we hope to see you there.
All right. Peace and love, you guys. We'll check you next time on the podcast.
Bye for now.